Good morning, everybody. This is the next in the series on the topics that I've been covering. So last week we saw a topic on user personas. What is a user persona? How do we detail out a user persona right from starting user research? So what do we do after we detail out user personas? We get into the part of starting out a journey for each of the personas. So a brief description of what a user journey is. It's basically a set of steps that we think the user would do when we are designing a product. There are two aspects to it. One is to demonstrate what they are doing today with their existing service, website, product, whatever it is we're designing, or to demonstrate how they would interact with whatever we are designing. So most of my thoughts are basically coming out of this website uxreview.co.uk. I'll share the link in the description. So why should I use a user journey? Can I skip a user journey? Obviously, yes. But does it help? No. It is good for us to kind of demonstrate what is the level of interactions a user is going to have with a specific system or a product that we're designing. Uh, the key reason is because it helps us demonstrate the vision of the product in some ways when we actually detail out the user personas. It helps us, to have who is the product manager or the executive sponsor and get the detailed vision of the project. There might always be a vision at a very high level, a very abstracted vision. This helps us detail it out and kind of focus it on the specific interactions. They help us understand the user behavior better. It kind of helps us bring out some of the details from the user research and kind of see how it's useful in interactions. The user persona kind of helps us structure it, but then how do you use it when you're designing a product is where the user journey comes in. And also, in some very practical way, it helps us identify what are the possible features or functionality at a very high level. So that's pretty much it. This is also used as a next step in terms of designing the wireframes and some of the other things, but it's a kind of a side effect of why we do a user journey. So how do we go about doing it and how do we create a user journey? So you remember a user persona, right? So some of the key things that we would have captured as a part of the user persona is the user's goal, what motivates them, their current pain points, their typical day in a life, and what tasks they want to achieve, and how does our system help. So that's basically what we kind of try to do in a user journey. So we start with the context, user specifically, progression, each step in terms of how they proceed, and what devices. When we say devices, it is not specifically physical devices, what kind of things that they're using, what functionality do they use from their to achieve their goal, and what emotions, are they frustrated, or are they happy. That kind of helps us to kind of design each of the features. How should a user journey look like? I don't think there is any specific structure to a user journey. I'll show you a couple of examples that I've got that we can actually quickly see. So a couple of examples that I've got. If you see here, let me make it a little bigger. If you see here, these are all the personas that I've got for a specific product that I was designing. So there's a normal user, there's a power user, there's a work stream lead, stuff like that. So this is one example. And I'm going to pick up one user. In this case, it's a power user. I'm basically doing some demographical data around the user. There is obviously a more detailed persona. I did not include it as a part of this presentation. And I'm going to do a simple flowchart to explain what do they do. If you see, there are some specific information around what is it that the user is trying to do. For example, it talks about discussion to optimize client organization. There is not much context, so please be careful how you use this. But yeah, we talk about some of the very specific steps that has no system interaction, and there are some specific steps where there are system interaction. For example, cleans and validates the file. Are there errors? Then you get updates from the client, and then you keep doing it again and again. So this is basically how it is. How do you detail the interaction of a user with and outside the system and basically put it together? So one of the common pitfalls we fall into is basically about just detailing out the interaction with the system. That is not right. For example, if you see here, the consultants get updates from the client is something that's very important. If we have more information, we would detail out this step as well to understand some of the criticalities that are involved in the specific process step as well. I'm not going into the detail of it, but this is the most common user journey that we kind of put. The other example that I have is something like this. This is also in some ways called the swim lane diagram, where you have multiple users and each user has got his or her own responsibilities, and what do they do, how do they interact with other users in terms of the entire process. You should be very careful in using this kind of template because this is commonly misunderstood as a process flow diagram rather than a user journey. I would typically prefer drawing a user journey where only a single user is involved. This case, we can do it when there are multiple users involved, but always have focus on a single user. If you see here, the focus is actually on the authors and editors. There is not much of in details for the other steps that the other users are doing. There will be subsequent workflows, or sorry, subsequent user journeys where other users actually are given a lot more focus on. So that's pretty much how you do a user journey and what you can